Warning. Aspects of Dead on Dave are over the top and meant strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't take it too seriously and have some fun.
Welcome back to the channel, Mush Puffs. I am Dead on Dave, and we are back in our regular time slot right after Tommy C. It's like the old days come back. Doesn't it feel all good all over your neck, face, and chest? I know it does for me. All right, so we got a lot to get into today. I can't really gild the lily too much because we got some Jake Paul stuff that I want to talk about, and not in the way that you think. And let me tell you right now, no, this will not be a review of Nerd City's incredible video. That's not what this is going to be. I think that video stands on its own. There's no reason to review it. I'm going to talk about some of the points, but not in the way of a review. If that makes any sense, it'll make more sense as the time goes on, because I'm more interested in what the impact potentially could be from this video. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more, because we got a non-call-out. This YouTube boxing thing continues on, continues to go crazy with people calling everybody out. I think we got our first real non-call-out of the proceedings so far. We're going to talk about who did that, and then we're going to spend a little time talking about some wrestling. Deal with it, bitches. We got some wrestling to talk about, and we're going to go into it pretty hard. And let me tell you, if you're a smark, if you have some really sensitive feelings about the All-In pay-per-view, you might want to leave now. You might want to get the F out at this very moment, because I was not complimentary of last night's groundbreaking, and I will give it respect for what it is and what it can do. And we'll talk about all that in just a little bit. But first, I want to talk about me for a second, because I like me. I enjoy me. I'm full of piss and vinegar today. It's like the last couple of days has been shit. Absolute shit. Like, people just want to piss me off and anger me in all kinds of different ways. And you know what? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for getting me all fired up, because it's what gets me hard for you guys. And you guys like when I'm hard, don't you? All right. So, yeah, lots of things happening this week going on with me. We're going to be going back to some normalcy. Twitch in the daytime, YouTube in the evening. And because of everything that happened with the Jake Paul situation, and once again, that incredible video by Nerd City, let me start this proceeding with a plug. If you guys don't know where I am currently, I'm a bunch of different places. Twitch being primary, and during the day, you're always going to be able to find me there. But we also have a new channel, Trash or Treasure. Look at this thing. If you like picking, if you like flipping, if you like those type of things, if you're a big fan of finding rare junk for cheap prices, and then we get to tell the story about it, go check out Trash or Treasure, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get a little side hustle going on. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's give a little bit of love to the chat, because I got a lot of people up in here hanging out. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Old School Matt here, Corey Hour, Oglish Carl G, Udai Pyoxes, Anod, Leapin' Lizard up in the house, Donna Danny, the man who made the thumbnail for not only today's stream, but yesterday's show as well. Toxic Dome, P-Gaze, Ben Stone, all you wonderful guys. Let's get a little zoosh in the chat, shall we? Can we? I don't care about the likes. Likes are great. I want 50,000 zooshes in the chat. That's what I want. Okay. So let's start with the big story going on right now. I think one of the bigger things that are happening in YouTube, and it might just be kind of silent at the moment. I think it's one of those things that it's going to kind of creep up, or it might fade out like a fart in a very, very large room. We don't know yet. But Nerd City possibly made the greatest video YouTube has seen. I don't say that lightly. I mean, just hearing about everything about the video. I actually just watched the video today. I watched clips of it, I saw little parts of it, but I didn't go too crazy with the video all in all. As far as, like, I had to see it right when it came out. And then I waited a little bit. I wanted to see what some of the reactions were. I wanted to, like, see a little snippets of it. I saw some things that were being posted, and it looked really good, of course, because he's an incredible fucking video maker. But God, was it not what I was expecting? And Tommy kind of prepared me for that. He was like, it's not an exposed video in the traditional sense. Trust me, when you watch it, you're going to understand. And I was a little bit like, I was skeptical going into it. And even knowing how good Nerd City is at what he does and how well he's able to talk without coming off as preachy, without being somebody who's saying, bad person, bad person. He could say you're a bad person, but he's so fucking smart, clever, and creative. He could do it in a way where you're just satisfied with it. I mean, I think even Jake Paul probably ended up liking the goddamn video. You know what I mean? It's an incredible feat to be able to speak at length. That was a 45-minute video. That was no small feat what he did. To be able to talk, stay focused, and get everything made the way that he did, and put it in a way that's palatable. And not, look, pointing out all of Jake Paul's repulsiveness has gotten repetitive at this point. Ethan's did it. Pewds has done it. Phil DeFranco's done it. Everybody's done it. Everybody has publicly and very vigorously put out just how bad of a dude Jake Paul is. And if you didn't know, if you weren't aware, if you still were hiding under a rock and you weren't sure of just how bad of a fucking asshole this guy is, just look at the fight. Just look at the goddamn fight. Look what happened in this fight. I want to start there because that to me was the most interesting thing. And I think one of the negative points for Nerd City would be the timing. I would have liked to have seen that video before the fight. Before the fight. Because I think it changes with what Jake says at the end of that fight. Jake has a dominating fight against Deji. Deji did very well, but he was outclassed in every way. I don't think Jake was ever really in danger. He got counter-punched a few times, but he was never really in danger of losing that fight. I think Logan was far more in danger of losing his fight than Jake ever was in his. I was wrong on Logan. I thought Logan was going to dominate in the first 2 rounds. It looked like he was going to, and then he ran out of gas. It happens. And he got hit a little bit. But after winning a fight so decisively, and in some ways even looking like he was winning over a very hostile crowd, what does he do? He grabs the microphone and starts talking about change and growth. And then he goes right into a big-ass shill about his merchandise, man. And he does all the things that Nerd City would point out after the fight. If Nerd City puts that video out just a couple days before that fight, and then Jake does the exact same thing, it's not that it wasn't already pointed. It's not that it's already effective, but my God, the amount of reaction that would come after that would be incredible, would be insane, because it's just like, holy God. But maybe it wouldn't matter that much at all when you really think about it, because is any of it really surprising? Jake Paul and the entire Paul family, I'm going to go that far because I think Nerd City did a really good job of showing that entire family has got some boundary issues. Maybe they're just that comfortable with it. I'm not here to fucking judge that family for what they do privately, but this isn't private. This isn't private, and you have to be accountable for the things that come out like that, and especially when you're putting them there and you're putting all these creepy, weird, bothersome things out. It makes you fucking think about just what the whole fucking plan is going forward. Because how long can the Pauls possibly keep shilling the way that they do? Especially now. Does Nerd City's video make an impact into his demographic? I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's possible that it can. Mainly because, and this is another reason why I wish it would have came out before the fight, because it's so well documented. Because everything is well, we saw stuff in this video that we've never seen before, but it wasn't a surprise. I mean, honestly, I can't say that anything I saw in the video was actually shocking to me. The clip art thing didn't really shock me, and honestly didn't bother me all that much either. Scope matters a lot in these type of things. Like, I use clip art because I can't fucking do shit for myself. I have graphics people who does stuff for me because I am incredibly untalented and I am just too lazy to learn. I use some clip art stuff, but I'm nothing. I'm a pimple fart. But scope changes perspective. And because Jake is so big, so maybe he could have got away with it at the beginning days, the Zoosh days and all of that, could have got away with it. But eventually this was going to become a bigger deal because at the very least, it seems cheap. It seems cheap. And of all the things that Nerd City did say about Jake Paul, the one thing I didn't hear him say that I think could have been a little bit more effective with his fan base is the cheap remark. The fact that this guy's a millionaire. He has made millions of dollars off of children, either by exploitation or just by, you know, continually just pounding his merchandise agenda down people's fucking throats, bordering on an illegal fashion, if not blowing out the goddamn border. It's all there. It's all right there. You know, we've seen it, and it's just, it's so disheartening. It's so disheartening going forward that there's a possibility that it doesn't make a gigantic impact. If you wanted to make that impact, you got to embarrass them. You got to make it so they're not cool anymore. That's the only thing that's going to ever end the Pauls, or really anybody on YouTube. If you can't adapt and grow and change with your audience, because a lot of times, and I know this just from my 4 years, I've seen the same people in my chat for 4 years. Now, granted, I'm not very big, so it's very easy for me to see Pyoxys and Kian and Leapin' Lizard, who has been with me for like ever. You know, to see all these people, Pyoxys, Ricochet, Sylphid. I've seen all these people for like ever. They grow with me. PewDiePie, perfect example. People grew with him. Jake Paul is in a different category because there's a very good likelihood that people aren't going to grow with him, especially if you can make him look uncool. And unfortunately, pointing out all the illegal stuff, all the creepy stuff, all the cringe stuff, even the insanity that comes with that fucking... I didn't even know about the clown thing. The clown invasion thing, I didn't even know about. I never even heard that. I had never seen the videos from the kids. It got buried. I just have never been too much into all of that type of stuff, so I simply ignore it and don't pay attention to it. But when you see it, and people make such a good case against these things, it is easy to sway you. Or should I say me, 35-year-old man, not 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-year-old kid, because his numbers keep going up. This guy has had multiple situations that would have ended anybody else, but because of the age and size of his audience and the fact that it has come from different places. I like that Nerd City pointed out that he actually started on YouTube, because he always gets all the stuff for Vine and everything else, that and all the mainstream crap and everything else that he's done. But the reality is, it is a homegrown situation, and he has all these pots to choose from when it comes to fan bases, and they just keep flooding in. And because they're so young, they're so impressionable, and the one thing about this world is we're constantly making more kids, they're just going to phase out. They don't have to grow with him, because he's going to continue to just, at least until he's 25 and he starts to bald a little bit, you know, 26, 27, his looks start to fade, possibly. You know, then he's going to have to start to adjust. PewDiePie realized this, and he adjusted his content. He adjusted everything about himself. He really did. He has become a different guy. Really not different, just grew up. And that's the thing that I don't think anybody is really taking into consideration when it comes to Jake Paul. What's going to happen when he grows up and looks back on some of these things, and is he going to be around long enough to where it's even an issue? Is he going to have the longevity to be able to look back on this time? I'm sure PewDiePie has done this, where he's looked back on his early videos, even when he was popular earlier, and just been like, what the fuck? I know I've done it, and I'm nothing. I know I look at the things that I've done early in YouTube, and I'm just like, man, I've grown a lot since then. I can reflect on it. But when you have scandal after scandal, and you have illegal activity after, this guy is, what, he's basically tried to commit murder. He's accused his fucking neighbors of all kinds of things that turned out to not be fucking true. He's exploited children ad nauseum. He has taken advantage of as many people as you possibly can, but it just continues. But Nerd City did something that maybe could start turning the tide. He made him look uncool. And I think if you can do that long enough, if you can really point out the fact that he's cheap, even being a millionaire after all the money that he's gotten from you, he's still using clip art. He's still doing these shortcuts because he has no respect for the position that he has. When those people get older, there's a very good possibility that they're going to end up going away from the entire Paul family. Now, this all changes if the right people get involved with the Nerd City video. Now, I really thought there was a possibility that this video was going to go over 1 million views in the first day or two. I think it's still under 300,000 hits, and I'm very surprised at that. I thought this was, especially because we've already had some bigger people like PewDiePie talk about it, mention a little bit. I really thought this was going to get a little bit more traction. I saw Polygon. They got a hold of it. They ran an article. Didn't tag Nerd City in the article. I didn't understand that. I know they talked about it in the article, but on Twitter, they didn't tag him in it. I found that was a little bit bizarre. Like, why not tag the guy and let him have a chance to try to work with the article to you know, maybe get an interview with him a little bit, you know, talk to him. I didn't click on the article. So there's a very good possibility that they did interview Nerd City, and I simply didn't notice it because I'm terrible at my job. But you see my point. I think that there were ways to make this have a little bit more traction, and it really comes down to who gets a hold of it. And I'm not really sure if it's going to be enough even then. We've seen things in the past where people continue to have multiple lives on YouTube, and we're in social media in general. It's because we play by different rules here. The mainstream, it's much easier to ostracize and blacklist and push out, phase out. We dictate really who gets phased out here on YouTube. You either keep blowing up and then eventually fade off, or continue to be PewDiePie forever, whatever the case may be. You fall into a Leafy situation where you lose massively publicly, but really only fall into purgatory. When Leafy comes back, people are going to care and people will watch him again, and he'll have a nice little decent career. I'm pretty fucking convinced of that, especially if he has lessons learned and all that type of stuff. I'm fairly convinced of it because this is YouTube. This is social media. Lives are continuous here. It's like a video game. People don't have the memories. Yes, the internet lives forever and people are always going to meme you and stuff like that. But because of the meme culture, it doesn't mean as much. We're always going to be giving second chances to anybody that we want. And if they're a meme and they embrace the meme, it's even better. But mainstream has different rules. There's different people in charge. There's actual, you know, it's a job. It's treated more like an actual profession and a career, both in good and bad context. We don't have that here. So the possibility of him continuing, what did I say? Did I say Porygon? My bad. Did I say a Pokemon, Tobes? Is that what I did? Oh my God. Did I say Did I say Porygon? Excuse me. Polygon. Pokemon on the brain. Sorry, motherfuckers. Don't at me. Don't at me, motherfuckers. I like Porygon. He's a good Pokemon. Thank you for derailing me, but that was fucking funny. It's just going to be very interesting to see the actual impact of this long term. The legal stuff, without getting into all of the legal stuff that Nerd City talked about with the advertising, he did such a good job with the numbers and pointing everything out. Without getting into those and really harping on just how big of a deal this potentially can be, especially everything that happened in the 80s. I think the problem is because the laws that Nerd City was citing and talking about were from 1990, and social media didn't exist then. There are new rules, there's new ways to advertise and all of this. I think that's why so many people are allowed and able to get away with the things that they do. I mean, they put the kibosh on that shit after the fucking 80s when it was just marketing bonanza. I mean, He-Man, Transformers, GoBots, all these goddamn shows are just basically toy grabs, money grabs, nothing more. Whether they were fucking good shows or not, I don't think that was ever the intention. It's about pushing an agenda, pushing selling merch. And this is where I want to turn it on its head a little bit, because there are people, entities, corporations, companies, big ones that still do this in all different avenues of entertainment. They just do it differently now. It's indirect, it's subliminal. They went to merch in a different way. And I'm going to go to one of my favorite things, wrestling, because wrestling is a perfect example. Wrestling shows this in a different context, because right now the WWE is a PG format. They obviously market to kids. There's violence, still some sexuality. Even now, it still happens. We still see some boobies and all that type of stuff. Not the actual nips or anything, but there's still very highly suggestive sexuality at times, depending on what the WWE is doing at the time. And in other places in professional wrestling, it's far fucking worse. Hell, at All In, they killed a guy. They fucking murdered somebody. Not actually, but in kayfabe. But the point is still true. Now, granted, that's a different demographic than kids, but wrestling is wrestling, just like YouTube is YouTube. Kids are going to flock, and they're still going to be subjected to it. It's in more indirect marketing. It's like, buy the merchandise, and they'll do all the commercials. But because it's not, hey, kids, bother your parents and all these type of things, it's a much easier way to get around it and not potentially get caught. But it is there, and it's almost in the exact same type of guerrilla marketing standpoint. Because instead of having a commercial or an ad within the video like Logan Paul likes to do, or Jake Paul likes to do, and all the shows from the 80s like to do, instead, you have your favorite wrestler wearing his merch out to the ring. John Cena with his 175 different fucking shirts in every color of the rainbow, and colors we didn't even know. I'm pretty sure John Cena invented 4 colors. I'm fairly certain. And they're all named Cena. It's unbelievable. It's really one of those things. And I know 4 is a crazy number, because who knew that John Cena could count past 2? Right in John Cena's fuckhole. But it's still there. Sports, another thing, direct marketing through jersey sales. You see the jerseys everywhere. The better the design, the better the fucking feel, the more it's going to push things on you. Product placement and animation still happens quite frequently. I mean, you'll still see things where Rick and Morty is a perfect example of that. Now, most of those, some of them, I would think, at the very least, they're sponsorships. There was a deal in place. I don't think, like with the Nintendo situation that Rick and Morty caught a little bit of flack for, where they blatantly asked Nintendo to get sent free shit. That's an advertisement for Nintendo within the show. Still happening. He talked about a Nintendo Game Boy, a special Game Boy, the Zelda edition. He even got fucking specific. That's a sell. That's a shill. And at the end of it, he avoided everything, Rick, by saying, Nintendo, give me free stuff. So it seems that's going to pass by because it's just a meme, bro. He's just joking around. Nintendo, give me free stuff. I mean, it's well documented that Rick and Morty has affected sales of things that they mentioned. We saw it with Szechuan sauce. They brought back a fucking product that's been long dead because it got traction, because people cared about it. And that's why ultimately I think this is going to fall by the wayside. I think it's all going to kind of burn out and fade out of existence, because it's always there. It's always constantly moving. It's always in full motion, and we see them, but it's easy to just kind of dismiss. But when you have a situation like Jake Paul, and you have all of these things that build up with it, it's much harder to ignore. You know, I was absolutely uncomfortable at times watching Nerd City's video. It made me physically uncomfortable. And even with some of the stuff that did that, I didn't even feel that some of those things were all that unacceptable. Not some of them, there's no questions about. But like, there are other things like I know people do with their families, you know, especially like playing with kids and, you know, chasing them around and making them cry, stuff like that. People do that quite regularly. You know, that's not, but when you put it on YouTube and you're a big person, once again, scope matters. But I can fucking look past it and not go into a big deal. The creepy stuff with everything with his parents, on the other hand, that's a different situation altogether. Not really a game ender, but I don't think that was ever really the point of Nerd City's video. It felt like Nerd City really, to me, wanted to just get his feelings out about it. It didn't feel like he was really going with a purpose to end Jake Paul, just simply let everybody know exactly how he felt about it. And he could do it in such a way that he could be so convincing and so fucking incredibly entertaining with the way that he attacks things, with all the different characters that were involved. And then I feel there was a misstep. So this is where I'm going to go back a little bit of what I said on the beginning of the video, the beginning of the show, I should say. Here's a little bit of a review, a critique. I get the end of Nerd City's video. I understand that it was a sponsored video. I understand that the product, it just skipped out of my fucking head. The teaching tool, God damn, it just completely flew right out of my head. The teaching tool that he was advertising, that paid a sponsorship for it. I understand that that's a good thing. That's a noble thing. That's a right thing to be talking about. That's a great thing to be fucking promoting. It's helpful. It's great. I love that he fought for teachers. I love that he talked about teachers, all of that. But just by having the ad at the end of the video, maybe it was done for irony's sake, but I think it kind of takes away from the message just a little bit, a tiny bit. And that's even if it was meant as a joke. Sometimes jokes can have more impact than you mean them to be. Maybe it was there for ironic purposes. Like, okay, I'm going to take a piss out of myself by putting this ad at the end of the video. He didn't have to make this video sponsored. He could have, you know, a different video could have been sponsored, whatever the case may be. But this could have been the one where he took the exception and not had the advertisement in there. Because I think it does kind of take away. There are going to be some people out there who look at it and go, well, there's some hypocrisy. You know, you're going to talk about the shilling ad nauseum as the way that you did and the way that you pointed out in the video, but then end the video, a 45-minute video, with another advertisement. I think for some people, it's especially the younger demographic, it might take away from the message just a little bit. So ultimately, with all of these things factoring in, and unless mainstream media gets involved, unless this gets Daddy-O 5'd and the right people really do pick it up, if PewDiePie really hammers in on Jake Paul and uses the Nerd City video as that jumping off point, you know, and maybe a perfect storm where Ethan goes back into it, and so does Philly D and some others, Keemstar, everybody really uses this as a rallying point, and mainstream media picks it up and gets involved, and YouTubers are fucking interviewed, and we're able to see perspective from different sides of YouTube in a way that we haven't really been able to see in the mainstream, then I don't see this really doing all that much ultimately. And again, I can't speak for Nerd City. I can't think that I don't talk to Nerd City that often. Every once in a while, we'll have a little bit of an interaction, but I can't get into Nerd City's mind of why he made the video. It'd be a question I would love to ask him, but I can't answer it. You know, what was his personal reasons for doing it? Was it just something he wanted to do? Did he want to take the piss out of him? Does he want to end his career? Is he trying to have a content cop type of atmosphere? I don't know. And I don't think it ultimately matters all that much, because at the end of the day, people are going to continue to just go on with their lives on YouTube. And they're going to continue to make videos, and they're going to continue to fucking be hypocrites, and they're going to continue to use things. They're going to use clip arts. They're going to use not everybody's the most creative person in the world. And I think because of that, because this is YouTube, and anybody who's on YouTube, anybody who's ever made a channel, I think that you feel a little bit differently because you've done it. You know, you've actually put the effort in. Even if you're not doing every aspect and you're not making videos of the caliber of Nerd City or Colossal's Crazy or Lord Vega or any of these other incredibly gifted video makers, you still know the process. And I think that kind of changes your mindset a little bit, because you can have a little empathy for maybe using clip art. It goes away when, again, you look at the scope, but I think there's enough there to kind of let this slide by. I'm hoping that's not the case. I really am. I'm hoping this turns into a much bigger situation. I'm hoping more people do get involved. But that brings up another big worry. That opens up another can of worms. Because if, in fact, mainstream media gets involved and Logan Paul gets blasted, maybe even sued, maybe like sued off the fucking planet, maybe the government takes regulations against Logan Paul for breaking laws that are on the books, what does that mean for the rest of YouTube and social media? Because that's the one big thing that's yet to happen. Even with all of the entities that has come in, the mainstream media, you know, attacking PewDiePie and all the things that they'll try to do that have affected us with, you know, the monetization stuff, we haven't had that moment yet where they've really looked into YouTube and all the practices of all the major YouTubers. I got news for you, kids. They're going to find some damning shit on a lot of motherfucking people, if not everybody. The people who have been around YouTube and made the money on fucking YouTube in the way that they have, they're young. Most of them, good majority of them. They make mistakes. They don't know what to do with this newfound fame. It's a different type of fame. Fame's never really been achieved in this way with such minimal effort. And I say that with all due respect to anybody who takes great pride in what they do and, you know, all the work that I know how much work I put into stuff, but comparatively to making it in Hollywood or on Broadway or having a singing career, this is a better shot at least making a sustainable career. You guys have turned me into a situation where I don't have to worry about monetization because you guys support me and you help me out and you guys like what I do for whatever fucking reason. You know, it really is an insane thing to me that we can have that we're not reliant on the things that we're reliant on in the mainstream. You know, it's an easier path and mistakes are going to be fucking much more severe. There's just more of them. So when the mainstream media, let's just say for a second, they pick up the Nerd City fucking video and everybody gets involved, PewDiePie, blah, 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 and it opens up this big can of worms. When they kick open the doors and they start seeing all of the insane violations to laws on the books, to all the different things that have been done on YouTube and been completely fucking ignored by this horseshit of a fucking platform, what's going to happen from that point on? Regulation. Major regulation. If you think terms of services and stuff suck now, just imagine what happens if we're all under the same guidelines as, say, mainstream media. You know, having to talk with agents, having to have the agents, having to have talk to producers. You know, we're much more reliant on all the other things because we can no longer govern ourselves because of the things that we've done. You know, we've had guys like Keemstar in the past have screamed at mainstream media, we'll police our own. The problem is we don't police our own very well. And that's the real fucking beauty, the real beauty of Nerd City's video. He policed the situation without coming off as a content cop. And that's kind of beautiful because, look, what iDubbbz is able to do, the name is a huge part of it. Content cop. You know, there's something about it. It's captivating. And now that can no longer be used again. So a guy like Nerd City, who is honestly one of the most talented people, both in acting and graphic design and all the things that he does that I've seen in a very, 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 very long time. But when he comes around and he makes videos that are more impactful from like an emotional standpoint and are able to grab you right by your fucking nutsack and get you to listen to the things that he's saying, but he doesn't preach at you and there's nothing in there that says content cop or the end of Jake Paul, when he's simply talking to you and showing you in a unique way all the violations, that's where it can make a different connection. So where does this go? What type of impact is it going to have? Unfortunately, more than likely minimal. And if it does have any sort of big impact, it's going to be catastrophic for, I think, maybe social media in general. For people, the way that we create will be changed. And maybe it should. Maybe it should. If we could stop the exploitation of certain things that are going on, and, you know, a whole lot of creators who are never going to have major careers on the platform or anything like that are kind of pushed out because of it, is that a fair trade? It ends YouTube, but YouTube's ending anyway. They're already taking the U out of YouTube as it is. Nerd City, I need a good name for the series. Nerd City is here. What's going on, man? He can definitely answer some of the questions that I had early on. I really like to know why he did make the video. If it was just to take the piss out of Jake Paul, the Paul family in general, whatever the case may be, was he trying to make an impact? If you want to answer that, feel free. If not, don't worry about it, Nerd City. I ain't gonna be mad at you. But that's basically what I wanted to say on this situation. It really is a convoluted argument that I'm making. Not even argument, but the points that I'm making. There's a lot to it because there's so much that goes involved, that goes on with this whole thing, and I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like it. At least not in the mainstream. Those stories are handled by the status quo, by the people who already do all the things that they already do. So it is what it is. Dr. Content since Leaping Lizard. There you go. All right, so moving on from the main topic, I do want to talk about a couple of other things, and one being the whole boxing sensation going the way that it is, we're starting to see more and more call-outs. If you just watched the incredible interview that Tommy C did with John Scarce, they talked a lot about who should fight who and who would you fight. And because we know that this series is going to continue, we know that there's going to be more going on. And before I continue, I do want to read what he just said. Nerd City, it started when Keemstar tweeted at me to ask if Jake was photoshopping his muscles. Wow. That was the apple that struck you on the head, Sir Isaac Newton. It was Keemstar. Good guy Keem. Holy shit. That's funny. Okay. That's fun. All right. That answers some stuff. I like that. I'd like to have a conversation with you. Offline, of course. Just for my own edification. But moving forward to what we were saying, we're seeing more and more people want to fight each other. You know, everybody wants to fight somebody, right? I think that we saw our first official non-call-out the other day. Kavos, the bad person wrangler of the fucking internet. Interesting guy. He is calling out Rice Gum, that works too. Rice Gum with an incredible ferocity. I mean, he is going hard on him. Showing DMs between him and Rice Gum, calling him every name in the book, bitch, punk ass, all this stuff. He's going hard as hell. The problem is, he might as well be calling out fucking Edgar Allan Poe, because there's no chance of this fight happening for a couple of reasons. One, Rice Gum weighs about 32 pounds. Rice Gum is not getting in the fucking ring. I don't see it happening, and I certainly don't see it happening against a guy who's smaller than him. While Kavos has grown unbelievably large, especially considering where he was just a year and a half ago, he's not on that same tier as Rice Gum. If Rice Gum were to fight, he certainly ain't gonna fight a 1 million subscribed YouTuber. Even if there's beef, even if there's anger, even if there's any of those things, he ain't fighting him. He's gonna fight. He's gonna definitely be punching upwards, just like Kavos is. Kavos is trying to punch upwards. And he's also, I don't think he really wants to fight either. I know that Vega told me that he wants to fight and he wants to get in all of that type of situation. I don't buy it. Me personally, I don't fucking buy it. I don't think Kavos wants anything to do with boxing. I know he trains. I don't think he wants to fight publicly. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. If he did, I think he'd be calling out somebody with a little bit better of a chance of accepting the fight. Rice Gum couldn't beat the Gabby show. Okay? Rice Gum lost the fight, basically, to Gabby show. What the fuck do you think that Rice Gum's gonna say when a guy who's built pretty goddamn big, like Kavos is, what do you think he's gonna say to that? I'm fairly certain Rice Gum can't pull a fucking Jenga block out of the goddamn game, okay? Why the fuck is this something that anyone would want to see other than just seeing Rice Gum getting his face smashed in, which he undoubtedly would? It wouldn't happen. It's a non-call-out. It's basically calling out a corpse. It's basically calling out a non-existent... He might as well have said, I want to fight Dumbo. You know, I want to fight the Keebler elf. It's an imaginary thing. Why did he do it? I can't speak for him. I can't get in his head and say he's definitely a coward. I think that he doesn't want to fight, but maybe he does. Maybe he has legitimate hatred for Rice Gum and he really does want to punch him in the face. Maybe he chose Rice Gum because he knows all the things that I just said, that this is a 32-pound guy who has no goddamn strength in his fucking hands, that couldn't fend off a 28-pound Gabby show. It's fucking incredible to me. It's like, what are we talking about here? Maybe that's the reasons that he did it, because he knew that even if Rice Gum does accept the fight, that it's assured victory. But he did the right thing as far as punching upwards, and it's the whole reason why Rice Gum won't fight him, because he's not going to punch down. So I don't know. I just wanted to make a quick little talk about that and just put my 2 cents in. Mainly because I think it's the first non-call-out that we saw. And I think we're going to see more of them. I think anybody who wants any juice, and we know Kavos was gone for a little bit, and maybe this is a way that you use this as a tool to be able to fucking get your name out there a little bit more, get the drama stirred up again. He can make a couple videos on this if he wants. It's a really good move for YouTube. It's a smart way to ensure that the drama and the beef is going to continue. And I think that's what he wants, and that's completely understandable. But will it lead to an actual fight? Fuck no. 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 No, I don't think it will. All right, so now we're easing into the rest of the show. So here's what I want you guys to do for me. Get your asses over into my Discord. Get into Waiting to Call. I want to hear from you. I want to take your calls, your questions, your hopes, your dreams, your quips, your quotes, and so much more. I want to hear from you. You can talk to me about anything in the fucking world. You can talk to me about the situations that we already talked about with Nerd City and Rice Gum. And you can even talk to me about the very next thing that I'm going to get into, and that's wrestling. If you didn't know, I'm a wrestling guy. I always have been. Wrestling is my passion. I love it. I love it so much I can't even tell you how much I love it. You just see it on my face. I light up still to this very day. 35 years old, never got out of it. Probably never will. Last night, we had an event that I'm not even going to tell you how I felt about the event yet, because regardless of how the event actually was, the importance of it cannot be understated. That event, all in, was incredibly important for wrestling. It showed that an independently funded event could succeed. $2 donation from Nord. Hit the like button and donate your firstborns to the Church of Dave. Thank you very much, Nord. I appreciate that. We got beers to drink tonight, too. By the way, if you guys want to see some big-ass chugging going on, I'll chug on YouTube. I haven't chugged on YouTube in a very long time. $15, I'll chug in. You'll see the new animation donation as well. We'll do a chug. We'll do a hat change. Whatever else you might like. I don't give a shit. Thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it, Nord. So you have the situation that happened last night, which is incredibly important for wrestling. It shows that an independently financed event can sell out and be successful from a business standpoint. I don't know what the pay-per-view buys are going to say. I don't think they're going to do very well. I'd be shocked if it's anywhere more than 100,000, 150,000. And I think for them, honestly, at $40 a pop, they're fucking doing great. I don't see a lot of people shilling out $40 to see that pay-per-view last night. I think it's probably going to end up being the most pirated wrestling event in the history of the sport. I believe it. I think more people stole that last night than any other wrestling event ever before, because people wanted to see it, but maybe even if they weren't incredibly invested, like me. I didn't care about hardly any of the matches that happened last night. Basically, everything that went down last night, I gave zero fucks about. But I still watched because I wanted to be a part of this moment. Wrestling is important to me, and this is a good way to further the industry. And I think from that standpoint, it was successful. But in every other context, as far as the product that people got last night, it's one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen. I was shocked at how bad the in-ring product was. I'm not a fan of the over flippy-dippy no-selling stuff in the first place, but I knew I was going to get that last night. I was very confident that's exactly what we were going to get. We were going to get a lot of matches with a whole lot of style, very little substance. That's exactly what we got. What I wasn't expecting was the sloppiness, the constant, non-stop sloppiness. In the first couple of matches, you know, you can kind of give a little bit of leeway to, like, all right, this isn't a big deal. All right, how much is fucking Arrow going to? They had the guy from Arrow, the actor, in there, in his only third match, in his first ever singles match. What? 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 It was awful. Him and Christopher Daniels. Give all the credit to Arrow that you want. He got in there and he fought and he did some shit. He did everything that he could. He took some bad bumps, some nasty bumps. But God, was that embarrassing for both he and Christopher Daniels, in my opinion. That was really hard to watch. And it didn't really end there. You had a very big flippy-dippy match, the first match on the pre-show. It was awful. The women, even with my Tessa Blanchard, one of my favorite women wrestlers in the entire world, who I would fucking watch take a shit in a goddamn waffle cone and probably eat the waffle cone afterwards. I was so disappointed with how bad those four women looked in the match. But all that match also told me something else. The crowd wasn't going to care. The crowd cheered the fuck out of that match. The live crowd cheered the entire night. The live crowd was very, very big into the event. They seemed very invested, and of course they were going to be. People, if you're being swayed by the reaction of the crowd last night, you're listening to the wrong thing. And I'm not saying that and trying to sway you whether it was good or bad. Everybody like what you like. If you enjoyed that product, if you think that's what professional wrestling's supposed to be, more power to you. I'm not here to fucking tell you that you're wrong. But what I am going to say is that crowd, that's the ideal crowd for that event. That is the smarkiest of the smart crowd. That's a more smart crowd than WrestleMania. That's a more smart crowd than the overseas crowds that we'll see in the UK and such. This is a smart crowd of which the likes we've never seen. 10,000 and change people going absolutely insane because this is what they wanted to see. They definitely catered to the audience that was there. But I think most people who rewatch that and look at it subjectively, like really, really look at the wrestling of it, very few could say we saw a good wrestling show last night. I mean, I'm not even gonna talk about the production issues that were glaring. Oh, look, got incoming. Oh, look at that. My champ giving me the thumbs up and $5 from Ricochet. I can't say it enough. Welcome back, Dave. Thank you so much, Ricochet. We will do the first hat change of the night. I'm gonna go fucking, what do we want to do here? Shit, I'm dropping all the hats. I'm dropping all the hats. All the hats are being dropped. I'm gonna put a big old purple pussy on my head because that's what I do. Big old purple pussy. Let's put that bitch on there. Okay, thanks so much for that. Okay, so I forgot what I was saying. But the crowd was into it. But I want to talk about one thing that really did highlight everything. Where I was with the production. Production was horseshit. They had to end the main event, I think about 12 minutes early. The matches went way too long. This was their first one, so I can give that a little bit of a pass. It's their first one. They've never done this before. You know, I don't know who they had back there, who was running Gorilla and all of that, but people dropped the ball. There was a lot of mistakes, and the fact that they had to abruptly go off the air last night, I don't think that's the representation that they wanted for that event. I think from a production standpoint, it was, if you're going on pass fail, I think this is what you go at. Atmosphere, it's a pass. In fact, I'd give atmosphere an A+. That was a great atmosphere. It was a fantastic wrestling atmosphere. But everything else, let's talk about commentary. Maybe the worst commentary I've ever heard at a pay-per-view event, and that's including ECW days, with the screaming, shrieking, and incoherent fucking Joey Styles, who I have never been a fan of. But I'm telling you guys, man, I could not believe how bad that commentary was. They were talking about the most nonsensical fucking horseshit. They constantly switched out, brought in special guests because they were trying to get as much out of their money as they possibly could, bringing as many people and all of this stuff. And I think it really took away from it. There was no continuity between the commentary. Everything was a failure there. Ring work, I think, was absolutely abysmal. I mean, even with the people that we know, there was problems in every match last night. Every single match. Kenny Omega, fucking Okada, the six-man, I would say mainly just because of how much time constraint they were under. I think the Okada match was supposed to go longer as well. It wasn't able to. So it's hard to even be too hard because of that, because they had to be rushed and things had to be changed. But, man, it was really hard to sit through from that standpoint. But it kind of goes even farther with just how bad shit was, because the main event, the big thing that I understand the six-man tag was the main event. I do. But it wasn't. The biggest fight on the card, I think, was probably Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis, Magnus, the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. That was the most important match, I think, from a wrestling standpoint, because of the history of the NWA, because of Cody Rhodes and his lineage, you know, his father, all that stuff. That match was so confusing on so many fucking levels. It was unbearable. That match was bad. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. First off, putting it on at the beginning of the night. There is no other reason in the world that they put that fight on first other than so Cody can't be fully accused of being his father. Dusty Rhodes, one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the industry, one of the greatest minds, also known as a guy to put himself over in spots, especially later on. You know, the booking himself as the fucking babyface heel, winning the title at the big event. Sounds like a Rhodes to me. Something we see multiple times. Beating people with their own moves, something else that we've seen from Dusty in the past as well. I think Cody wanted to avoid that as much as he could. And by putting him on first, by putting that match on first, I think that's one way to try and accomplish that. But anybody who's been watching Cody Rhodes since he left WWE, he's worked as an ultra heel. And I understand that in this Nick Aldis match, it was kind of like neutral. You know, there was respect involved, and yeah, it got heated at times, but it was still. But last night, they went complete face-heel dynamic, and it fell flat because all we've known for the past, year is evil Cody. Narcissistic. Why the fuck did I care about Cody's fucking dog? The most interesting thing that happened in that entire match was Diamond Dallas Page's fucking diamond cutter, which was beautiful. I love seeing DDP just crack that diamond cutter. That was awesome. I loved it. It was the best thing that happened maybe the entire night. That match was so lackluster. The blade was awkward. The fact, the X by Earl Hebner, who should never referee another wrestling match ever. Instant retirement for Earl Hebner. Okay? Awful job by Earl Hebner. And I hate saying that because I love Earl Hebner. But the X throwing up, and then, DDP coming out, and then the crowd was chanting yoga because I really thought he was going to Miyagi him. I thought we were going to see a straight up Mr. Miyagi situation. Cody isn't heel anymore. He turned face after the match against Kenny. I don't see it that way. I still see Cody being the exact same way. And the way that they were, the way that it was getting built up, where he was still kind of holding shit over Kenny's fucking head. I don't buy it, Flo. It wasn't, to me, that wasn't as big. That wasn't enough of a fucking face turn for me. It wasn't like a double turn or anything like that. There was nothing in that match that made me really fucking feel. He walked away at one point. Now, I felt it was more ambiguous than anything else. I don't see it being a fucking a face turn for me. But that's just my opinion. I couldn't get invested in Cody working face. Laying under the table, obviously blading himself early in the match too, which I found weird. This was a prime example of, to me, what was wrong with the entire night. Instead of actually working a match with substance, and maybe it was because Nick Aldis is basically incapable of having that type of match, they had to do something else. They had to go super blood. They had to make it as visually appealing as possible to try to draw as many people emotionally in as they possibly could. When I knew it was really a bad match was when Wrestling Inc. tweeted out Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis are wrestling a very WWE style match. That, to me, I was like, this might not be good. this might be a bad situation. It might be looked at even worse by the fans, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. There seems to be a lot of love for the event. I think a lot of people are ignoring just how bad the in-ring product was last night. I mean, Jesus. And when Wrestling Inc., some of the people at Wrestling Inc. who were tweeting under the Wrestling Inc. profile, when they're kind of adding extra balance to stuff, there's something amiss. The fact that they tweeted out a couple times last night about replace Nick Aldis with Roman Reigns and everybody's booing, or replace Cody Rhodes with Roman Reigns and everybody's booing. If this is in a WWE arena, that show gets booed out of the building. We're going to see beach balls flying all over. We're going to see the wave. We're going to hear all the announcers get their names called. Because it's cool to boo and criticize WWE, and it's not cool to criticize and boo the independent circuit. It doesn't matter if there's any substance. It doesn't matter if there's anything that is really all that remarkable. You give them the high spot. You do something ridiculous. You kill a person in the middle of the pay-per-view. You bring out 3 guys dressed as dicks. Maybe that'll be enough for some people. Wasn't for me. I was really, really disappointed. incredibly. More than I had no real expectations because I really thought this is what we were going to get out of the night. But Jesus Christ, man. It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just not for me. But I am not going to sit here and fucking just, like, there are certain situations where somebody gets into a situation where they shouldn't be in, but you give them credit. You give them respect for what they did. Scarce is a perfect example of that. Scarce probably shouldn't have been in a boxing match. More, you know, maybe not. He wanted to fight, so he fought. And you give him all the credit in the world because he is nothing but heart and fucking balls and deserves nothing but respect. But if it's somebody else that people maybe don't have as much affinity for, well, then it changes how you look at it, changes the perspective. That's not going to happen with this because the independents, Cody Rhodes being a former WWE guy who couldn't get past a certain point, maybe mainly because Cody Rhodes is a high mid-card guy at best. So you have an affinity for him. They're the good guy against the evil corporation. Corporations right now are so fucking hated, it's not even funny. I mean, being a corporation is like one of the worst things you can do, and if you're run by a fucking cis white male, then you're a fucking devil. Because you're the mainstream. You're the establishment. And right now, everybody wants to be anti-establishment. Not in the way they did in the 90s when the Attitude Era happened. Now everybody just wants to bitch and complain and fucking boo. Hashtag cancel the subscription or whatever the fucking case may be. It's fucking insane, man. It really is. So if I'm rating it, let's give it a number. 4? A solid 4? Yeah. Diamond Dallas Page is the best part of the fucking night for me. Now I'm going to open up the calls because I want to hear what you have to say. Jump into the Discord, kids. Go ahead and somebody throw the Discord link into the chat. You can also go into the description box and see the link there as well. We're going to be kicking into a different gear now, relaxing. We've gotten what, $7. If we get another 8, I'll take a fucking, I'll do a beer chug for you guys. I think that'll be a good way to take some calls. So let's get up in there. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. How much am I getting fucking beat up? SCR Angry Dave is here. What's going on, pal? Nice to see you. Jeff Huffman, put some respect on his name. Mystic says, Cody isn't heel or face. He's Cody, and that's why he's bad. Yeah, Cody sucks. And I love Mystic because I think she agrees with me on that Cody's awful. He's really bad. Leap and Lizard, I really enjoyed the Mick Farley versus Overtaker match. Highly agreed. Super Rising Storm saying some stuff. Oh wow, yeah, apparently he liked it very much. Oglish just calls it Dusty Finish for a reason. Yeah, all kinds of good stuff. Let's go into there. I'm gonna drag some people up in and let's start the night off. I'm AFK. Looks like we have my good buddy and cohort, compatriot, mi amigo, mi hermano, the one and only SCR Jim from Soul Crushing Radio. Of course, we have some more podcasts coming out for you, and I'm extending out this little intro so Jim can unmute his microphone, which he has yet to do. Sylvie, you going to drag us into AFK? Yes. I'll drag you in, jump in and waiting the call, and I will pull you up into my zone of copious. What's up, Jim? I hear you, buddy.
Go to this Discord shit.
Jim.
What?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
Go to this Discord shit.
What do you got for me, man?
What's up? What's up, other Dave?
Oh, we got Dave the Lesser joining SCR Jim. What's up, guys?
I'll tell you to be more funny.
God damn it, be more funny.
If I was more funny, then I think everybody would be dying of laughter right now. Like, it would not be good. I can't be possibly more funny than I already am.
Like, we got put on, like, such a long wait just to come in here so we could just talk shit to you. And
yeah, you got nothing for me.
I'm kind of insulted by this.
We stopped our stream just to do this.
Yeah, totally, that's it.
Oh, is that the reason why you stopped the stream? You know I was watching the stream, right?
On the stream today, I shit you not, I lost an Xbox One, a webcam, and a MacBook Pro.
Life was great.
It's not good. It was a bad day in Cat Piss Studio.
The Cat Piss curse was alive and well.
Yes, it was. People are saying there's no waiting to call. There is definitely a waiting to call. I'm looking at it.
I was.
Yeah.
I was in waiting to call.
That's how we're live here now. What's up?
Get in the waiting
You
to call.
haven't been kicked off this thing yet?
No, I'm 2 days without a strike. Isn't that great?
Amazing. Not much to say. I just called to congratulate you.
I appreciate it.
I just want to say, cherry right now. I kind of feel like I feel a little dirty right now. This is weird.
What do you feel dirty about?
You're taking my YouTube cherry. I mean,
have you never been on a YouTube channel before?
This is the first time.
I probably have, but I'm assuming not.
You just don't know.
I've never actively put myself on one. Let's put it that way.
We've talked about you on a YouTube show before. Sure.
I believe that.
Right there.
We have, yes.
I would also guarantee that I've been in videos on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure you have. Yeah, you just told a fucking lie.
And you porn.
Yeah, probably.
So do you guys have anything of actual substance for me?
What? You
I don't give my content to YouTube.
We came in here to derail, distract, just
You can hang
demean.
up on us. We're just going to say hi and congrats.
Well, at
Back
least
to
tell
your
everybody
wrestling.
where they can find our wonderful project of Soul Crushing Radio, while they can.
Pass. You did it fine.
Dave the Lesser, would you like to do one of your amazing promos and plugs?
I'm not allowed to. I'll get something thrown at me.
No, we didn't come here for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
fair
a
enough.
YouTube show. We came to say hi and congratulate.
Wait.
That's all.
I appreciate you.
Jane, how am I shy? What? I'm not shy. Just because I'm not on YouTube. God.
Good God. Well, I appreciate you
nothing.
guys, and somebody else did jump in the waiting call, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them up in here and see what they got to say.
Later, nerd.
Thank you, boys. I'll talk to you guys later in the week.
How do I get off this fucking thing?
I'll take care of it.
Goodbye.
See you guys later. Soul Crushing Radio, man. I am a part of Soul Crushing Radio. You guys need to be checking it out. It's a fantastic podcast that airs weekly. And here you go. You can see it right here on the Podbeans. Now, why did I pull up the Podbean and not one of the other things? Because there's a really good way to see everywhere that Soul Crushing Radio can be found. iTunes, Google Play Music, Player FM, Podcast Pup. I don't know if they're on all those still. I don't know if this has been updated, but you got all of those things, as well as Spotify and anywhere else where podcasts can be enjoyed. Soul Crushing Radio is the place for you. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. I mean, let's just look at some of the titles. I mean, look at this shit. We got some good stuff. SCR is So Frat, Asian Boy Bands, and Lack Turd Intelligent. Come on, that's good shit. Go over there and give them a little bit of love, and also check out SCR Jim on Twitter as well. Let's get to some calls. Get in there, load up the waiting to call. We're gonna end the show as soon as we're out of callers. We're bringing in Silfit right now. What's going on, buddy? You're live with Dead on Dave. What do you got?
What's up, Dave?
What's
Hey, man, how
crack-a-lackin',
you
baby?
doing? Welcome back, dude.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, dude, YouTube needed you, man. I'm glad you're back.
I don't think YouTube cared. I'm pretty sure they cared
us,
zero.
the fans, that we make up YouTube, not YouTube.
But I've been on Twitch. I've been on Twitch the whole time. Now, you came over to Twitch with me, but so many people are like, oh, Dave was gone for 3 months. No, I wasn't. I created another channel on YouTube, too, for Christ's sake. No, I was not gone. I just wasn't on YouTube.
Well, some people only know about YouTube, you know?
It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. It really is. What do you got for me,
So, hey,
Silver?
man. Yeah, about the whole... I was gonna ask you, like, you're a little bit older, right? So,
Yes.
with the whole Jake and Logan Paul thing, like, they fucking came out of nowhere, man. Like, in 2016, I remember first hearing about these dudes, and then within that year, they had taken over fucking YouTube. Like, do you think that this is just like a phase? Do you think that it's like a fad and that this kind of thing always happens, or do you think this is something new?
Well, no, I think you're also a little bit mistaken. They didn't come out of nowhere at all. Nerd City did a very good job of showing their roots on YouTube. They had already made a career off of YouTube for a very long time. And of course, they were both incredibly huge Viners as well. I mean, some of the biggest Viners out there were the Pauls. And, you know, they also had the Disney connection as well. So it really wasn't a shock that they blew up as big because they already had an audience when Vine went under and all the Viners came over to YouTube. And that's when people started saying that the Pauls showed up. The Pauls were already here. They are already here. I think they're a little bit different than the regular fad, to answer your question. To answer if it's a fad that's going to go away, I think these guys are different because they have been established in different places, unlike some other people that we've seen. You know, all the homegrown YouTube talent that's at the top of the game right now, we've only really known them from YouTube. We've gotten to be able to see different sides of the Pauls for both good and bad from other entities. And I think that gives them a little bit more of a staying power. It also doesn't hurt that they have a really, really big refillable audience pool. You know, these kids in that demographic, we talk about Keemstar's 14-year-old's army and all that stuff that he has. That's nothing compared to the 8-year-old fucking army. You know, 14-year-old trends change. You know, 14-year-olds now tend to be a little bit different than I was when I was like 14, and certainly different from when like my parents were 14 and such. It's a different thing. But 8-year-olds, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, they're basically still the same. And they're easily manipulated, and Nerd City did a very good job of pointing that out as well, of how easily these guys are manipulated. These kids are manipulated. And they're going to be able to continue to do that if they're continue to be able to go unchecked, which I would say Nerd City checked the Pauls pretty fucking well with that video, I would dare to say. But unless more happens to make them look uncool, or the government wants to get involved because of the blatant violations of the laws that Nerd City did point out so perfectly, I don't see it ending. I don't see it being a huge detriment to the Pauls. I just don't.
That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend's little brother, he was in elementary school last year, and like his like group that he sat with at his table asked him one day, "Are you a Jake Pauler or a low ganger?" Like that's like the fucking level that it's reached. And so, do you think though that that's like 5 years from now that's still like they're gonna be the kings of those kids, or do you think that like new people might come in? Like I don't. It's kind of hard to say. I can't really tell.
Well, I mean, new people are always going to show up. I mean, there's going to be new trends, there's going to be new things, but I mean, PewDiePie has weathered the storm. You know, new fads, new trends, new people, younger, more pretty, more handsome, whatever the case may be, have come, and PewDiePie has been able to slay all comers to his throne. He's still the king, unquestioned and unfucking disputed. He's the single entity of YouTube who can claim the top spot. Anyone else is even close. I believe they're like actual channels that are close to him in numbers, but I don't know how many more entities, singular people, are close to him in numbers. I don't know if the Pauls are ever going to get to that point. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to catch him just because of the longevity that he's had. But who knows? I mean, it's certainly possible. But it's also possible that we're going to get more people that are coming in that are going to change the landscape. Laws might be coming in at some point. YouTube might be changing completely in the next couple of years because of all the mainstream celebrities that are being brought in to create shows and take the U out of YouTube. So there's a very good chance that everything's going to be changing in the landscape anyway. There may not be a YouTube as we know it in 5 years. It might be a completely different platform altogether. So it's a hard question to ask, and to answer at least.
Yeah, definitely. So they're not the new Vanilla Ice that's just going to disappear in a couple of years, you don't think?
Nerd City in the chat says, just caught up at the beginning of the stream. As far as including advertising in my own video, I did that show to do how to do it ethically. Oh yeah, I understand, and I point that out, that there was no question that was why you did it, and I thought it was a good reason to do it. My point is with that, and it's no disrespect at all, there are going to be people within a demographic, because it's going to be hard to convince those people who are watching and loving the Pauls. You're not going to convince them. You're not even going to be able to show them through your perfect exampling of the things that he's doing to them. It's not going to convince them any otherwise. We've seen the fans stand by the Pauls after scandal after scandal after scandal. So I don't know if that's going to change anything. What I do think that adding the advertisement does is give people doubt in room to question. And it's unfortunate and it's unfair, and I don't think it's right, but I do think that's what potentially could happen with certain people. I don't know. Ricochet with another $5. Get the likes up. That's right. Fucking tell him, Ricochet. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, baby boy. I'll give you another hat change for that. We'll go Pokemon style. All right. Silva, did I answer your questions? And do you have anything else?
Hell yeah, you did. And rise and be original, guys. And buy this t-shirt.
That's right. Rise and be original. Clip art, clip art, clip art for life. Thanks a lot, Silva.
Later.
Take it easy. Nerd City, I wouldn't want to convince anyone that advertising should be banned. No, I don't think advertising should be banned. It's kind of funny that you mention it, though, because it's something that I talked about the other day with third-party advertising for live streamers. There's pretty fucking cut and dry rules on that now, and I'm wondering if that's ever going to extend to the entire platform, unless it's completely authorized by YouTube. In which I don't think a lot of, especially smaller live streamers, are even aware of this. Unless you run your third-party advertiser by YouTube, YouTube can terminate you whenever they want. They can give you a strike at any time. It's in there. You can see it clear as day. I don't think that's what you were trying to do either. RNBO if your dad is dumb. No, I don't think that's what you were trying to do. But I think what it did was it allows people to say, well, look what he did. Maybe they're not, the people who are watching that you could potentially convince, they're not going to pick up on the subtlety of the irony of what you did. You know, showing it ethically to put it in perspective of just how bad the Pauls, especially Jake, has done their merchandising. You did it very, very eloquently. You did it. It was classy. It was tasteful. It was with the right sponsorship. It was really nice to see. I liked it. But like I said earlier, I do think that it does offer a little bit of room for people to go, it's that little bit of doubt that I think the people that you're trying to convince, that's where you have to worry with. And because the people who love your video, the people who love the message, including me, we basically already felt this way about the Pauls. You know, it's been there's so much out there about how awful these motherfuckers are, how detestable, that we're already convinced. So we're on your side. But the others who may not be so convinced, they're going to see the advertisement at the end and maybe not feel the exact same way. Well, to that concern, I would say good. Don't let people take it too far. Yeah. And that's why you're the goddamn best. What a fucking sensible mindset to have about, you know, a concern. I like that. That's really good. All right, let's get back to some callers. If you want to get in the waiting call, jump in there. I'll get you in, and then as soon as we're out of callers, I'm going to get up out of here. I'm about to get yelled at by a beautiful woman, and I'm very excited because one of my favorite things in the world is to be yelled at by beautiful women. So, Mystic, joining me. What's going on? I think I know why you're calling. How you doing?
Well, I heard wrestling.
Yes.
So.
What did you think of All In last night?
I will be honest with you. I didn't even give two shits about it.
I love you. I fucking love you. More than I thought that I even could. I love you so much. I'm going to take off this hat. I'm going to put on something stubby. Oh, shit. I almost just fell my fat ass out of this chair.
Oh, no. Don't hurt yourself, please.
Yeah, it would have been very bad. There you go. This is just for you. Little bit of bunny ears because that's how excited you got me. Oh my goodness. So did you get through the entire thing? Did you watch the entire show, or did you end up bugging out a little bit like I did and had to finish it later?
I actually had to work last night, so I couldn't even watch it, and I was dead ass tired because for some reason they decided, oh, let's close at 11 on Saturdays. That sounds great.
Oh, your job?
So, oh yeah, well, yeah. So. But I read up on it on Twitter, and honestly, it was just about as how I thought it was gonna go. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Dave, and you're about to get very excited. It's just without, like, bleh, with this past year in Warring Bullet Club history, the pizzazz that it used to have has died for me.
Yep, it's gone.
Completely.
Agreed. Couldn't agree with you more.
The only slight bit of excitement is Tama Tonga's OG Civil War.
You like
That's
Tonga,
it.
though. You're a fan of Tonga. You're a fan of that.
I am.
Oh,
yes, I am. But the thing is, it's finally fucking something different.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's actual Civil War, not petty. Oh, who's the leader? Is it Cody? Is it Kenny? Is it Cody? Is it Kenny? Who's the leader, guys? Who's the lead? I don't know. I think we're gonna have to wrestle for it. I don't know. I don't know. And then like fucking Tama just comes in like, man, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Which is nice, right? It's a good thing to see. Yeah. Exactly. Because it is different. Now I know you have caught flack in the community a little bit because of your stance on Cody Rhodes. You've gone pretty hard on Cody, as have I, because he sucks. I mean, because he's awful.
And I got hounded by Marks and Cody Rhodes himself.
Yeah, right. You got under. Well, Cody, he does respond to a lot of people, man. He's a strange fucking guy. I don't get Cody Rhodes. I don't understand him. Like, I don't get it. I don't get him. I don't understand what his shtick is. It doesn't work for me. I get that
petty rich kid. That's his shtick.
His father, yeah, it is his shtick. It's perfect because his father blew so much smoke up his ass. He talks about it all the time how his dad used to tell him he has movie star good looks. No, he doesn't. No, I'm sorry, he's not that good looking. He's average at best, in my opinion. How he got Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah, the best thing going for him is his chiseled fucking jawline, but that's basically it.
And then every time he talks, he fucks that up. So
exactly.
But he's got
raging lisp
Brandy,
too.
Brandy, what a fine girl. What a good wife she would be.
She may be fine, but she has no idea how to be a heel.
She's awful. She
is.
Now, have you heard my whole fucking theory on Cody Rhodes and why he left WWE? Have you and I talked about that?
No.
I think Brandy Rhodes dragged him out by his fucking dick.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Brandy obviously wants to compete. She wants to be more than a ring announcer, and that's really all she was ever going to be in WWE. They've evaluated her in the past, as far as I understand. You know, she's had tryouts or athletic. She has no athletic bone in her body. I think the only athletic bone she ever has in her body is when Cody is balls deep inside of her.
Exactly.
She's not
Huffman, he used to be dashing. Back in his early WWE days, he actually did kind of look decent. And it's an older tweet for when he was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna change the logo." I do not remember how old this motherfucker is, though.
So funny. It was so funny. It was. Good.
I literally dead ass told him, "You're ruining the Bullet Club, and it's dead to me." And he's just like, "I'm sorry you feel like that." Next thing you know, my entire fucking inbox is flooded with, "You're a mark! You're a mark! You can suck dick! You're a mark!" I'm just like, well, fuck you. This is ass. What do you mean I'm a mark?
You're a fan of that product. You've been a fan of that product. You and I have gone head to head on this many, many times over the years because you love that product. You love New Japan.
Exactly.
You're a fan of the Bullet Club. And I was too when Finn was there and when AJ was there. When it was actually tolerable. When there was actually good shit going on. It was interesting. Now it's not. It really is just regurgitated garbage, and it's unfortunate. And that's coming from a guy who watches WWE every week saying regurgitated garbage.
Exactly, and like the difference between Bullet Club then, what it had a pizzazz versus now, is that then it used to be them versus the company.
Yes.
They used to be the hounded force.
Yes.
Being like, oh, you have these rules, well, fuck them. And then just going ham. No, it's, oh, who's the leader? Civil War. This is bullshit. And it's just like, what happened to us against the world? Why is now us against us?
It's like people forgot what the Bullet Club was. If anyone has forgotten, the Bullet Club was a group of American or non-Japanese wrestlers that has utter disdain for the Japanese culture, yet wrestle in Japan. That's how they got heat. Now that doesn't exist. Now you got Kenny Omega talking in Japanese, crying every fucking time he has a match. You got everybody sucking the dick. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. They're just basically NWO light at this point.
They are, and that's now like the one time I will fucking agree with you on that. It's like it's actual bullshit, and it's like it makes me die a little inside because I still don't watch the Fed. I still think the regurgitated bullshit is bullshit and not worth my time. And now that my only like some outlet for like my passion for wrestling is like dead, I'm like, what now? And it makes me sad too, because fucking I told you that Andre wanted me to be his new like NJPW host, and I'm just like, but like, why do I watch it anymore?
You have no more passion for it.
Yeah, I have no more passion. Like, I didn't even watch the G1. I heard the ending of the G1, and that was bullshit.
Wait, you didn't watch the G1? The same girl that stayed up for like 36 hours to fucking watch the G1 last year?
Yeah.
You were fucking like a zombie last year watching that fucking thing.
I was. Yeah,
oh my God.
I stayed up every fucking night.
But now let me ask you this. This is an important question to ask. Do you feel that you've gotten out of wrestling because you're getting a little bit older and you're just moving on and into different things? You know, you have a job now, you're getting a little bit bigger with YouTube and all those type of things? Or is it that the product itself, and not just WWE, but everyone in general, has turned you off and you no longer want to be a part of it?
It's definitely the product, the current product.
Wow.
It's like I have like a thirst for like that gritty violence, that like real tough shit, right?
So they killed somebody last night. Did that make you happy?
They killed somebody last night?
My least favorite thing to ever do in professional wrestling, they actually did it at a pay-per-view. Somebody died at the pay-per-view in a match. They murdered somebody.
DM it to me so we don't reveal spoilers.
Just go check it out. You'll see it. Is
it like the same way they killed Adam?
Yes.
Oh, motherfucker. Yes.
And
who's leaving for the Fed now? Shit.
Well, not the exact same way. Different. Wait, Adam Cole? No. Yeah. It wasn't just a jumping. No. Actual death. Like a murder.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Just go look it up. It's ridiculous. And there were 3 people dressed as dick and balls last night.
I want to die.
It was great. It was absolutely amazing. All right, well, look.
What the fuck?
Final thoughts, Mystic. I do want to get to Charles in the chat.
Okay, Charles. All right. Last thoughts. Well, I hope something good happens soon, because I really want to get back into watching New Japan. Like I said, there was no heat going into the G1 like there was last year, so I didn't even watch it. And the fact that Tanahashi won, of all people, who has literally no steam for him, he's just the fact that he's the ace.
Right.
Nothing. You have nothing. Fucking, you had Coda right there.
Right.
Right there. That would have been beautiful.
Could have easily further storyline.
Kenny?
Yes. Yeah,
Coda versus Kenny for the championship. What? You had it in the palm of your hands. Yeah. Unless
we get the Golden Lovers.
What?
Instead, we get the Golden Lovers again.
Exactly.
And now the Golden Elite or whatever. I don't fucking know. Yeah. I am not even sure. What's up, Real Talk? I see you in the chat, baby boy. How you doing, pal?
Hey, Real Talk.
Why'd you get New Yorker on him?
I don't know, because I can.
That was pretty nice. All right, it was kind of sexy. All right, Mystic, thanks for the call.
All right, thank you. I love talking to you about wrestling.
I miss talking to you about wrestling. Talk to you soon.
Yes, talk to you soon.
Yes, Queen. Good stuff. All right, looks like going to be the final caller of the night, unless somebody else gets in the waiting to call. The one, the only, Charles. What's going on, Rails? How you doing, buddy? What you got?
I'm all right. How are you? I don't have much. I have a confession, but
you have all right, well, I'm very excited about to hear your confession. So please tell me your confession.
Well, I logged on my computer earlier, and I was like, you know what? I've not seen a Dave stream in a long time. I miss watching these streams, and I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah.
Cut to 10 minutes ago, and I finally remember it's on. After thinking,
how am I so forgettable? I'm a big, giant, fucking fat guy in bunny ears. How am I so forgettable? I don't understand.
I was playing Fortnite with someone, and I was like, yeah, I'll just go and watch the stream in a bit. I completely forgot. I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad. Don't worry. Forgetting me is something that is an actual big crime in the world where everybody else in the world is guilty as well. So don't even worry about it. You're good.
I didn't forget you. I just temporarily didn't think.
Yep.
Oh, Buddy, don't cry.
No, it's fine.
No, please.
Nah, it's no big deal, man. Look, everybody's got lives to live, man. I can't get mad when people don't get to my... How dare you not drop everything to get to my stream? And besides, isn't it like 10 o'clock there?
It is 20 to 11 at the moment.
Yeah, there you go, getting late.
Yeah, but I stay up till 4 most nights. So
well, look at you. Fucking vampire. Shit.
How are you anyway? I've not
I'm good. You know, I'm alive, man. It's good to be back on YouTube, even though I fucking hate this platform with a fiery vengeance. But it's good to be back doing my show every day. You know, doing my stuff on Twitch is nice, and I love doing my game streams. But this is a different fulfillment altogether, and I'm very happy to be doing it again.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm looking forward to seeing the streams again, because I don't. There's not many streams that I look forward to watching, and this is one of them, definitely.
Thank you. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we got a lot coming, man. And a lot of co-hosts coming back, new people coming aboard, new concepts. I got all kinds of stuff that's coming down the pipe, or maybe I just lied. You'll never fucking know until it actually happens. You got anything else for me, Mr. Riles, Mr. Charles?
Yeah, just a quick thing. Were you all talking about Jake Paul and stuff for the rest of the stream? Because I missed a lot.
You want me to come talk about Jake Paul after the stream?
No. Were you talking about it during the stream?
Oh yeah. We talked about. Well, not only did we talk about Jake Paul, but we talked about the entire situation with Nerd City and the incredible video. I honestly think it's one of the greatest videos that YouTube has ever seen. Is this Nerd City video on Jake Paul? It's incredible. It really is.
I didn't catch the whole thing.
It's in the description box below, kids. I made sure I put that video down there. Make sure you guys go check it out because it really is something special. Even if you don't agree with, maybe if you're still a Jake Paul, or if you still love the Pauls and their culture and all the fucking shitty things that they do, and you have no reason to want to watch this video, still watch the video because it's so fucking entertaining. It's so good. The devil's in it.
I'd love to watch it. For a long time now, I've thought about the Paul brothers, Jake Paul mostly, but because Logan's the whole Forest thing with Logan just ruined him for me.
Yeah, right.
He's now scum in my eyes. But with Jake Paul, I feel like there's a weird dissociation with the way the entertainment and the content he makes, the way he acts and his fan base. It's like the content he makes is geared toward teenagers.
Younger.
His fan base is all like children.
Yeah.
But he acts like he should be entertaining adults. There's such a weird combination of things going on there.
Well, it's why he's so appealing, because he is such a look. He's a gorgeous fucking moron. That's what he is. And he's a gorgeous moron that loves to do all kinds of outlandish and crazy fucking things. And really, look, a lot of the things that he does, kids these days are doing behind closed doors, and they have for a long fucking time. People like to razz on each other, goof on each other, try to get each other to hump each other, all kinds of stupid stuff. It's what people do. So they gravitate towards it, and they can identify with it. They don't want to admit that they can when they get older, but that's why he's able to grab such a big market share. He's a fucking gorgeous moron who does moronic things and has incredible catchphrases, and he's very simplistic and easy to follow. Nothing complicated about Jake Paul, and I think that helps as well.
I think something that would help is if he had someone to sort of, I don't know, someone to sort of manage him.
It's his dad.
I don't trust his dad either. His dad seems like a
good job. It's not good. It's bad. It's bad stuff altogether. It's just really bad.
I think he just needs like 3 people or something, just a few people to be like, hey, you shouldn't have done this, don't do it next time, or hey, try doing this more next time.
I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think that it matters at this point. Like, you could have the most intelligent people around you, but if you're unwilling to listen, then it's not going to make a difference. You have to be willing to listen, and he's one of these guys, I firmly believe, that just wins until he loses. And even when he loses, unless he has a catastrophic loss that derails him in a way that we've yet to see happen, then I don't see it really mattering all that much. He's going to continue to try and keep winning and doing the things that he does, because that's just what's worked up to this point.
That is a very fair point. It's kind of disappointing because he seems like the sort of person who I want to like, but I can't because he just seems like a bit of a dick.
Yeah, I don't want to like him at all. I don't. Look, I respect anybody's hustle that creates something. And even with as shilly and manipulating and straight up illegal in some instances that he can be, he has still grown an incredible fucking empire. And I'm always going to respect that. I enjoy money. I like it. I don't have any, but I enjoy it. And I respect the people that garner it. And even sometimes I can look the other way on certain things if the person's a good person. However, he's not a good person, so fuck him in the air.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I did see a while ago when he first started to sort of blow up on YouTube and people were starting to call him out on stuff. Someone tweeted like, my mum told me that my bullies will grow up to nothing. My bully was Jake Paul. I absolutely believe that.
Right.
I absolutely 100% believe he was a bully in school.
I believe that. I could see that. I could see that. Well,
but again, I don't think he was. I don't know. I have a weird thought process about him. I don't think he does anything maliciously. Like you said, I just think he's stupid.
I don't know. I think in some instances he does. It just. I mean, he's lied about neighbors. He's done criminal things. I mean, it's not like he just accidentally slipped and fell and has lied about his neighbors, making accusations and such. That's malicious. That was intent. You know, he intended to deceive. Same thing with Logan. Well, I just
the thing about the thing with the neighbors and the things he does that people would say is malicious. Not all of them. Some things maybe are actually bad, but they seem to me like something an idiot does when the idiot finds out they can fly. If an idiot finds out they have the power to fly, they're going to lift someone up and drop them.
That's true.
Not because they're being malicious in any way. Just because oh shit, I dropped you. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Like just because they're an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's found out he's a millionaire and he's famous and he's rich. He can get on the news. He can do what he wants. So he's going to dick around a bit. I don't think he meticulously plans out. I'm going to lie about my neighbors and try and get them in trouble. That seemed to me like a kid trying not to get in trouble.
I don't know. It's there's so much, and I really highly recommend you watching the entire Nerd City video and a lot of other people's things on this. I mean, like everything that's happened with his father and him, and like with the kissing of girls and all the weird shit that goes on with the family and children. I can't just chalk that up to idiocy. I have to chalk that up to choice at some point. Especially when so many people have called him out in the way that they have, and he's had to have seen it, he's had to have heard it, but yet he continues to do it. You know, the one thing that I think that was really not super public was the clip art stuff that Nerd City really did touch on so perfectly and turned into a fantastic meme that hopefully will take over. You know, clip art, it's fantastic. But
I need to watch this video.
Even with that, I'm just wondering how many of these kids are even going to give a fuck. You know, clip art can be used. Clip art can be used legally. You know, as long, you know, it's like, is it lazy? Sure. Should it be acceptable from a millionaire? Absolutely fucking not. Are those kids who are buying it gonna give a fuck? No, probably not. The parents might, and that might make a difference, but I don't think the kids will all that much.
But again, that's another scary thing. Kids don't give a shit.
Right? They can be manipulated. They're kids. Kids are stupid. Yeah.
And again, another thing. Parents don't give a shit. Like it's not many parents. Not all of them. I granted. I'd say probably even most of them are. You know, but there's enough of a population of the parents who are just like, kids happy. That's fine.
Well, culturally, things are interesting right now because we've always had that thing where, you know, the television or the video game console, you shouldn't use it as a babysitter. Well, now we have babysitters in the palm of our fucking hands constantly for children. Constantly, and we're willingly giving these to these fucking kids. These I see 7, 8, 9-year-olds. I mean, I gave my kid a phone too, so I'm a fucking hypocrite. But my kid is a fucking wild child like that. But we give these fucking kids these phones, and we don't care what they do with them. So many parents. Some parents do. I mean, I check my kid and everything, but I mean, so many don't. And they're just able to go unchecked with these fucking devices that have become babysitters instead of actually fucking parenting. And so then they get all shocked and bothered when they find out their kid is a goddamn piece of shit. It's unbelievable to me. Hey, by the way, your kid has been failing all classes, shown up 3 times to school, and dabs on his friends as he takes a dump in the corner. What? My Jonathan? Yes, bitch, you're Jonathan. Do you see what this bitch watches? You know, it's like, what? So, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, your son took a shit on another child and then beat it very hard.
It's every day,
yeah,
bro.
But, you know, the kid's just sitting in the corner. Jonathan, do you have anything to say to yourself? Stabs.
Right. All right, Charles, I'm ready to wrap this bitch up. You got anything else for me?
Not that I can think of, man.
It's really good hearing from you, man. I'm glad you called in.
Oh, it's been a pleasure speaking to you again.
All right, my friend. Call in again soon. I'll talk to you later on.
I will.
All right.
Goodbye, mate.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Good night, my friend. All right. This has been a pretty good one. Sorry if I was a little bit rambly early on in the show. I had all these wonderful thoughts in my head, and I just kind of got them out as fast as I could. So I do apologize for that, but hopefully you understood the point of everything that I was trying to say, and hopefully, especially Nerd City, takes no offense to any of the points that I may have made. That's why I didn't want to do like a review on the video, because I don't really see a need for it. The video does really, truly speak for itself, and it's a masterful work of fucking art. And if you haven't seen it, go down below, check it out. It is incredibly well done. It's a great message to it. It's a great point, and even if there are people who do see the advertisement at the end as a little bit of a counterpoint and maybe just like shouldn't have been there, he does show exactly how to do sponsorships and advertising in a classy fucking way, and he's really becoming the hero on YouTube that we actually need, and it's the one we deserve. Do we? I guess we'll find out with time. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you everybody who supported the channel tonight. I do appreciate you guys. Got some rabbit ears going on and all those wonderful fucking things. It's been fun being back on the last 2 days, and I can't wait to take it on into the new week. Remember, we have all these great things happening. We're going to be going back on Twitch tomorrow morning, probably anywhere between 10 and 12. It just depends on what my morning looks like. I'm not 100% sure. We also have the brand new channel. We'll have new content up on Trash or Treasure. Make sure you guys check that out. We got this new channel doing picking stuff. I go to flea markets, I go to Goodwills, I go to wherever I can to find a good deal, and I go look for stuff, and then sometimes I break them on camera, like a $75 glass. Yep. New videos, new episodes will be coming up very, very shortly on Trash or Treasure. Make sure you check it out. And the last thing I want you to do is make sure you go support my other side project. I'm back in the podcast game, kids. I'm with Soul Crushing Radio, the people I've known for about 8 friggin' years. We have merged together in this beautiful fucking cacophony of fuck, and you guys can hear it every single week, and mostly 2 times a week, because we do an after party on Friday nights on Soul Crushing Radio's Twitter channel, SCRGM. Get over there and give some love to the Mush Puffs, all right? Thank you all for being here. Thank you for checking out the video, and hopefully you'll drop a like. Thank you. See you next time. Keep it copious, folks. Remember, as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. And peace.